Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Cummins and I want to talk to you today about Fukushima Ryu Shinobi no Jutsu, the ninja, the shinobi skills of Fukushima Ryu. Now if you go to one of my earlier videos, my last video I think, you'll see I did an outline of it. And what I want to do here is start a small series of videos which discusses Fukushima's ninja skills and go through bit by bit and interpret what's going on, because it's crazy and confusing. So I'm going to try and bring to you a visual idea of what's actually going on. So there's a link down below to a video put up by a man called Stephen Nojiri. Stephen is very attached to the Fukushima skills, so we're doing this series of videos together, working in tandem, and I'm going to go off his videos first. So go and watch his video after you've seen this one and you understand what's going on. Right, and of course subscribe to him so you can keep up to date. Now we're looking at the final section of the ninja scroll in Fukushima. The reason we're looking at the last one first is because that is the sort of the poetic, the very spiritual ending for the entire scroll. And the idea is that a ninja should have this understanding before he goes and practices all these. Of course, you read the scroll in one, you get the understanding, you go back and practice the arts. So what we're going to do is start at the end because it's the foundation for the ninja skills after that. So it's about the mental attitude of a shinobi. This is how a shinobi should mentally understand the world around him. Now remember, we're talking about bushi here, we're talking about samurai. So these are Fukushima and Nojiri samurai who are learning the ninja arts, and they are based in the warrior culture, and they are warriors themselves. Now, as Stephen says in his video, the normal warriors go for the form. Shinobi go for the formless. So there's substantial versus insubstantial. This is called kyojitsu, and kyojitsu is a very important part of ninjutsu. So first of all, you have to understand that this is intent. It's about the intent of the warrior. Now I'm going to stop using the word shinobi for a minute because it's a warrior performing shinobi arts. So these Fukushima and Nojiri warriors were needed to understand the intent behind their actions before the magic of the ninja arts, or the ninja arts themselves, the conspiracy, would work. Now so it says at the beginning, it says shinobi do not only use mysterious ways at the start, they use the 5 constant factors plus the wisdom, benevolence and bravery. So here are the 5 constant factors. These are actually taken from Sun Tzu. Now you must become absolutely familiar with Sun Tzu. Now these 5 constant factors are the 5 things that exist in a military environment when you're on campaign against an enemy or when you defend against an enemy. These 5 things should be inserted inside your being, and you should look at the world through them. So you should look at the terrain, you should look at heaven, you should look at the general, the laws of the land. You should understand all these things, and once you've understood that, you know where to go. What you have to remember, or what's hard to get across as a researcher, is just how important these 5 things. Everybody will go, okay, 5 constant factors, to the side. No, these have got to be there. You've got to see the world through these, through Sun Tzu's eyes. You're a Japanese warrior in the Sengoku period. The Sekigahara is coming up. You're used to carrying heads. You've been given shinobi tasks. You need to now go away and contemplate your mission, your shinobi mission, through the 5 constant factors. But also, as Buddhists and as religious people, these warriors had to realise that, you know, a lot of the ideals. Now, of course, we could go into detailed background, whether it's Shinto, whether it's Buddhism, whether it was, you know, shamanism, and all these type of things come in. And they are in Japan, everything gets melded together. We have wisdom, benevolence and bravery. Now, if you don't act with benevolence and if you don't act with wisdom, the gods will not help you. And most of these skills are myo. They're mysterious, they're wondrous, they're magical, they're aided by the gods. It's not illusion, it's pure magic. So if you do not understand the 5 constant factors, you can't understand the enemy. If you do not act with wisdom, benevolence and bravery, then the gods will turn their backs on you. If you don't understand the enemy and the gods are not supporting you, you're out, son. That's why Fukushima and Nojiri are saying this. To have the gods on your side, to know the enemy's tactics, you must base everything on these. So it's not one of those hippie endings where let's all be, you know, nice to each other, man. This is about retaining the support of the gods. This is about understanding the enemy. This is about being a solid figure inside of your armour. Someone who is blessed and who is protected by the ancestors, and someone who has an external understanding and have looked deeply into the enemy. So you've got to get that across, how just fundamental that is for you to even use ninjutsu. This is where you've got to go. So what we've got is this foundation versus tricks. If you just go out using tricks and using magic, the gods are not paying attention to you. You haven't understood the enemy. You don't know where to use it. You're on the wrong path. So go back, insert your foundation. So if you only use Myo, if you only use magic, you will fail. You'll absolutely fail. And you will lose what's called Honshin. Now Hon is sort of like true, origin, and mind. Now this is a problem because we translate this and it becomes like, you know, the true mind, the original mind. All these connotations in English come across. But what it means is sort of, even I am giving you my interpretation, but generally you can be safe by saying Honshin is getting rid of delusion. It's getting rid of external things. It's getting rid of everything else that is, you know, your opinion on things, the processes from childhood that have changed your opinion. Everything that has been added to you is not Honshin. Honshin is the truth, the understanding, the pure way. This is the white light. This is the water that's not diluted by cordial. If you put orange juice and blackcurrant juice and all this, these are the external things that change the nature of the water. You have to push those external things out and arrive at Honshin, true mind. So if you've got Honshin, true mind, you see the world like a flat. We've all seen the analogy of the flat ocean. It reflects, like the puddle reflects the moon. The clean mirror reflects everything correctly. These are all ideas of the mind. If you have Honshin, true mind, you have a pure mirror. If you have Honshin, you have a flat sea. These things reflect. So when the enemy move, boom, it reflects on you. Bang! You can see it on the mirror, on the other thing, or you see it in the mirror, and you're like, there, I've seen the enemy move. You have Honshin, you have true mind. Then you have wisdom, bravery, and benevolence, and the gods will support you. So you have a flat, calm ocean with the gods behind you. When the enemy move, poof, you see it, the gods support you. That's what Fukushima is trying to get across. That's what Nojiri is trying to get across. If you have these things, you are set up like a crossbow, ready to take the enemy down. If you haven't got these things set up, you've got to pull the crossbow, you've got to put the bolt in, you've got to aim. If you have Honshin and this foundation and the 5 constant factors and the 3 things of wisdom, benevolence and bravery, then you're already aiming. You're waiting to find the weak chink in the armour. So you have to remember, when we're looking at it from a Japanese perspective, from back then, this is a blessed warrior. He's not an evil person. He's not somebody who's twisted. So Fukushima, the original guy, is saying, if you haven't got it central, if you haven't got it understood inside, you've not got it right. A shinobi is a warrior. Shinobis came from the samurai class in the main, or, you know, at least a large amount of them did, and they had to be not twisted inside. They had to be pure, honest and loyal so that the gods would help them on their shinobi missions. The next part is, it says that the shinobi observe the enemy. They work independently and they strike at the insubstantial in the night. Now Stephen did a great little talk on this and I really liked it. It was good. And so what we have to remember is that, yes, you're a samurai. You've got the 5 constant factors. You've got the 3 benevolence, bravery and wisdom. The gods are ready. You've cleared your mind. You've got Honshin. Now you have to observe the enemy. You stand there and you're waiting. You look, what do they do? Now observe means listening, it means getting there, it means even creeping into a castle listening. It basically means you're outside of your army, you're in the enemy army, or you're around the enemy army, and you're observing, observing, observing. You work independently. This means the army is one unit. It works as a whole. Even the scouts are part of the army. They go out, they come back. They go out, they come back. The shinobi is one of the only people in the army that works absolutely almost independently. He is given a task to do. You, shinobi, have to go over there and you have to achieve X goal. He goes off. Nobody actually cares what he does then. He just goes off and he reports when he reports. He might be a week, he might be 3 weeks, he might be 12 hours. He might be gone for months. He's an independent. He goes out and he finds out, and how he does that is up to him. Now, they have to strike at the insubstantial. Remember kyojitsu. Kyojitsu is very important. Like Stephen says, an army strikes, also uses kyojitsu, but on the whole, an army looks for another army and they strike. A shinobi has to find the insubstantial. A shinobi has to find the substantial and identify the insubstantial and get into the insubstantial, because there's no point going against form. There's no point going against the substantial. It's like you boom, boom. What you do is you go around and go through. That's the way shinobi work. The last bit of this section is very difficult. Like Stephen says, and like we translated, it literally came up with a few kanji. There's almost no grammatical connection between them. It's just like ideas or concepts. It's like somebody who's not wrote down a list, but they've put just a poetic idea down. And the idea here is to contemplate with fidelity and reach the truth. Where do we go with this? Right, like Stephen says, and it was great, we can interpret this different ways, but none of them are wrong. It's down to how that's interpreted, or how you interpret it, or how it's given to you, and blah blah. So far we've come up with contemplate with a correct mind, basically, with correct loyalty, fidelity, and reach the truth. Don't be twisted, don't be distorted. Or devote yourself to finding the truth from the truth. So here you've got to find truth or get truth, or both. So after we've got the 5 constant factors, yeah? We've got the benevolence, bravery and wisdom. We've emptied and we've become honshin, true mind. We've observed the enemy. We've found out where they're insubstantial. We have struck them where they are insubstantial, at some point. But also we have found the truth. Now that's what we're after. We're after the truth of a situation. Now this means that inside you are pure, you have honshin, you have a true mind inside you, you are loyal. You have to use devious, twisted strategies to get and find your way, and eventually after all them, and if you look with all those things I've just talked about, you will arrive at the truth. Now, so this is where you go from truth positive through the negative, twisted alleys of Shinobi no Jutsu, and you end up at the truth of the enemy. So you come from truth, you move through distortion, and you arrive outside of distortion back to truth. And that is how a shinobi works. It's very complicated. It's very mystical. It is mystical, but it's also very honest internally. You have to... The idea is people think shinobi... They've always had this idea wrong, is that shinobi use the darker, evil path. It's totally incorrect. Shinobi are always taught to use the nicest, most honest path because their methods are evil. Twisted, maligned. Now what this means is we have to really, really pull this on. I want you to imagine it's the Sengoku period. The Fukushima family are there and they're serving their lord at the time. And by this time it's Tokugawa. And I hope I got that right, Stephen. I don't do political history. So they're serving Tokugawa. They're given a mission. And on this mission, they have to go back to their tent, to their hut, contemplate the enemy with Sun Tzu, use an honest mind to get the support of the gods. They then have to go out on a mission and they use all the skills that are in the rest of the scroll, which we'll go through in the next few videos, or many videos, depending on how well it's received. And then they arrive at the enemy's truth. They take that truth back with them, back to Tokugawa, and tell him about it. Or they strike at the insubstantial, like a snake will strike out of the grass and collapse that part of the enemy. But it's all in unison with their lord's wishes, with fidelity and with loyalty. This is how it works. This is the truth about ninjutsu. So what you've got to remember is, A, we should start calling it Shinobi no Jutsu, but ninjutsu is so popular it's going to take years to break that down. So let's go with Shinobi no Jutsu, and that it comes from the samurai class. It moves through a devious place and arrives back at what the Lord needs to know. Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed that, or hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time for more Fukushima Ryu Shinobi no Jutsu.